And we're back, everyone.
Hey.
Hey, Marcus, I gotta say, when I went back and I reread that meme you showed me last night, I laughed really hard. I was like, gosh, this guy's got me pegged.
I was so happy when somebody shared that one with me. It's a good meme.
Thank you. I do appreciate a good meme. And it doesn't surprise me that the math puns were popular. One of my favorite jokes is I like to always say, I want to thank my fingers for always being by my side. I could always count on them. Anyway, terrible joke. I know.
It's pretty good. I'm kind of curious if other chapters actually have people, alumni come back to their chapter activities much.
We had one recently. Yeah. Oh, no, it's Dakota. I mean, hey, Dakota, what's up? I'm just kidding, man. That's my favorite way to greet somebody. So that means you're cool. Yeah.
I got you.
I had a question. Who's the voice behind the math department organization link?
Hey, it's Kevin.
Kevin. So when I got that prompt for the poll, those are all unique, and you won't get an extra one, or everybody gets one, I guess, right?
Correct. So that's going to be the only poll question that we'll be asking. And so that's the People's Choice Award for the student presentations.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Welcome, everyone. The award ceremony will be getting started in just a few minutes. I do want to point out the poll question. So on the bottom of your Zoom window, you should see the polls tab, and there you can vote on the student presentation that you thought was the best.
Cynthia, did you see the question in chat?
Cynthia, have you played that harp solo on the Firebird?
When I first got the harp, I started trying to tune it and all the strings were breaking as I tuned it. So I'm a handbell soloist, but I'd like to learn to play the harp, but I got to buy some new strings first.
Handbells is amazing. It was so much fun. Oh my God.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
There was a handbell presentation in 2017.
It was amazing.
Oh,
It was amazing. Mm-hmm.
did they do something about the singing bell technique or anything like that? Or oh my gosh.
No, it was a faculty workshop when we did using quotient groups and cosets
Mm-hmm.
to come up with change ringing, and then I let everybody promise to be nice to my bells and play the compositions.
That's neat.
Put that pun in there.
Hannah Davis, you might need to see if you can find the documentation from that talk. Right up here.
I have pictures somewhere. I know I took pictures during that one.
There's a book on change ringing and group theory. Was that the inspiration?
Well, I've been playing handbells since I was
Well,
in
because
high school.
the same guy does juggling patterns. I want
Right,
to know how
right.
many of us can do that part.
Yeah, yeah. No, I started doing this before that book came out. But I do have
Handbells.
a copy of that book now.
Handbells is easier than juggling for sure. I can do handbells, not juggling.
I did
only-
when I performed at the KME convention. I did throw one bell up and catch it at the other hand. So.
The only set of juggling balls I have that are actually any real juggling balls, I got from the NSA when they were at Math Fest a number of years ago. The little logo on them. I leave them on my desk and people go, wait, what are those?
The best moment from handbell choir ensemble was I was part of one up in Kansas and at Bethany College, and we did Bugler's Holiday on handbells, and it was amazing. 100%.
Very cool.
Bugler's Holiday is a great song, and then it was ridiculously hard on handbells.
That's cool.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining the awards ceremony. We'll be getting started here shortly. Still waiting on just a few more attendees to join in.
I think
And
we
the
can
AP calculus group is in person. They do the grading for the AP exams every year. There's a talent show at the end of that. I just can't imagine. Some of these people are just amazingly talented. I this past year and this coming year, unfortunately, they're all going to be virtual. I really want this to come back to in person again because I love listening to some of these people sing and do all their crazy skits. It's just wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, well, why don't we go ahead and get started? We may have a few more people trickle in. As mathdepartment.org says there in the chat, don't forget to vote on the presentation so we can award the People's Choice Award here in a moment. And thanks for sticking with us through the whole day. It's I know sometimes it's tempting when dinner time rolls around to maybe think there's other things to do, but this is important too because we want to recognize recognize a lot of people today actually. So the first thing I did want to mention, though, is that we will be sending out a survey to get your feedback on the convention. So be looking for an email from President-elect Tosh there, and I believe there will be some reports that from the officers that if you want the full report will be in the email, but we're just going to give kind of a summary here next. So with that being said, why don't we jump into it? I think we'll have John Snow, our webmaster, go first. John here? I know he was maybe gonna have some technical difficulties. He's on the road. So I will at least say this is that he is actually, I believe this has been in the past biennium, overhauled our website. So hopefully you've seen the new look of the website. And the other thing is that he took it upon himself last spring when, of course, everything got shut down and we weren't sure how many students maybe were ready to go with the presentation and no convention to present it to, is he offered to post pre-recorded presentations on our website. In fact, you can see we had a few students take us up on that offer, and so you can check those out. And after we get the recordings from today's conference, those will also be on our KME website. So make sure you check out kappa-mu-epsilon.org for those here in the coming days. So let's move on. Cynthia, our historian.
All right. Well, I want to thank all the corresponding secretaries. I'm actually finishing as historian. My term's ending this convention. It's been great to work with all the corresponding secretaries and with all the council members and other officers. And, Doug Brown has been awesome working with the Pentagon. Harold Thomas is here, and I have to thank him. He's the one that got me involved in KME. He's a past KME president. The big thing, this is our 90th anniversary, so I updated the history booklet. It's at the printers right now. We'd hoped having in person, we could have passed those out, but one's being mailed to each corresponding secretary per chapter, and so you should be receiving those in another week or so. Thank you all. It's been such a pleasure and honor to work with KME. It's just great people.
All right, thanks, Cynthia. Next is our treasurer, David.
I'm going to try to share my screen just because talking about, I can't share screen. Never mind. I'll just tell you. We're doing really well financially, and I have video on one computer and a microphone on another. Sorry about the weirdness there. We have about $112,000 in assets. We actually gained about $6,000 in the last 2 years. We've been gaining normally, but this was obviously not a normal biennium. We were down in initiation fees, and you all know that we're not initiating as many students, down about 30% in initiation fees. Our last convention, the expenses were a little higher, mainly because all the officers that had to travel, we were going a longer distance to Maryland, and most of the officers were in Kansas, Missouri area. We saved some money because we didn't have any regional conventions to give some sort of travel stipends to chapters for. So we didn't have that. But our initiation expenses, although initiations were down 30%, initiation expenses were down 84%, partly because Don Tosh has had the foresight to buy our pens in bulk. He's the one who manages those certificates and pens that get sent out to everybody. So we had a large purchase of pens last biennium, and we won't need to buy them for a while. So we're doing really good that way. Like I mentioned in the faculty section, because we tend to be gaining money, mainly because we don't actually print and mail the Pentagon anymore. Our expenses for internet are not nearly what printing costs and postage would be. We try to pass on a lot of the money that comes in back to chapters for travel. Part of that's mandated by the Constitution for travel to national conventions based on the initiation fees that chapters submit during the biennium. And of course, next time it'll be a 4-year period. But we've been trying to give extra amounts to chapters and even for regional conventions. And I really think that we'll continue doing that. We're not trying to make money here. We're just trying to keep things going and support our students and our chapters. We really appreciate the corresponding secretaries who manage the money that sends to us and the initiation reports and all of those sorts of things. We really appreciate all that they do. If there are any questions anybody has, I'll be happy to answer anything.
No questions? All right, well, thank you, David. How about our Pentagon editor, Doug Brown?
Right. Well, I'd like to thank Cynthia for all her hard work as historian, and happy trails. As usual, to Pat Costello, too, for doing the problem corner, and to all the referees who have been exceptional, especially in the year of the pandemic. As Brian had mentioned earlier, my main plea would be submission, submission, submission. So all these students that did such excellent work today, I'd love to see your papers submitted to the Pentagon. Faculty members, if you have something of interest, by all means, submit. Any students that you have that didn't necessarily submit today or present today, we'd love to see papers. I am behind on the fall 2020 issue. I hope to have that out by the end of the summer, and I think I have enough to get through the spring 2021, so I hope to have that out late summer, early fall. But papers, we need papers, please.
All right, thank you, Doug. John, I think I saw that you just joined us, our webmaster.
I am back, yes. So can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
I'm driving. I don't recommend doing this for a meeting. 2 years ago, we overhauled the whole website, and to make it slightly more mobile friendly and load faster. And since then, basically, we've just been doing routine maintenance. When you guys give me something to post, it gets posted. Or at least that's the plan at this point.
All right.
I'm not sure there's much else to report.
That's enough. We'll let you get back to driving. But thank you, John.
Yeah, well, I'm here. I'm listening. So.
All right. Great. Yep. As Jared, you may not be able to see the chat, but Jared said, "Great work, John. It runs well," which I would definitely agree. So.
Thank you. I'm not going to take the time to read while I drive.
Good idea. So yes, mobile friendly. That's certainly important these days. Let's move on to the secretary report, which Rhonda McKee is going to give today.
Yes, most of you know that Steve Shattuck is out this semester with illness, and so I have temporarily taken over the secretary job. You also know probably that the secretary's main job is to receive all of your initiation reports. And so one thing I would do as a reminder is when you send in those initiation reports, please make sure that everything is filled out. So sometimes chapters send in initiation reports that don't have a specific initiation date, or they don't have their membership numbers, but all of that is important for us to be able to process your report. So as a reminder, I would say that. I may be preaching to the choir here. Most of you who are here probably are doing that already. It has been a lot of fun to get back on the National Council and to work with so many people that I've known in the past, like Brian and Cynthia and all the rest of the National Council. So it's been a lot of fun this semester. We have initiated in this biennium 1,464 new members in 107 chapters. There were 56 active chapters who did not report an initiation in this biennium. I expect that the pandemic may have something to do with part of that. We have 162 active chapters of KME and 45 inactive chapters for a total of 207 chapters. And the membership, the total membership, so like you do in your chapters, we began keeping track of KME members when KME started 90 years ago, in fact. And so up to this point, we now have 89,724 members in KME.
And Rhonda, there's a question in the chat. Brian Dawson asked if we send our initiation report to Stephen by email, should we send it again to you?
Steve has been checking email and sending all those initiation reports to me. And of course, Steve and I are in the same department. So I check his regular mail, his land mail regularly to make sure I get the checks. So if you think to send it to me, that's fine. If you've already sent it to Steve, then it has been forwarded to me.
Am I correct in saying this is probably your last KME convention, at least as a regular attender, or?
Well, they're asking me here if I'm going to come again next year. So maybe I'll be here next year.
Okay. All right. We'll take that as a promise then. All right. Any other questions for Rhonda? All right. Well, thank you. President-elect Don Tosh.
I have been president-elect for less than 1 year. I came just in time to appreciate full effect of the pandemic. And when Leah Childers stepped down because she was unable to continue, they asked me to fill in for her. And I guess the idea was to go eco-friendly and instead of using up new officers, recycle old ones. So usually the president-elect reports on past and present conventions. I have the data for this one. I haven't looked up. I've looked it up, but I haven't compiled all the data from previous ones. We had no idea what this convention would look like. We didn't even know if it would occur because call for papers had a slow response, call for workshops had a slow response, registrations had slow response. And I had a kind of a little rejoicing dance the day I got my first paper submission. So yes, it was a good day. We ended up with 9 papers. We had 3 workshops. We had a good variety of papers, quality papers. The workshops were excellent. We had a total of 132 registrants, which is more than we've had in several of the last conventions. We've had a total of 38 chapters represented, which is more than we've had in the last several conventions as far as chapter representation. So based on what I can see, I haven't yet seen all of the complaints about technological glitches or whatever, but what I can see, I'd have to rate this convention as a success. And I'm very pleased that it worked out as well as it has. We're interested in your feedback and how you feel about that. We'll be sending out a survey to ask you about how the convention went. But I was very pleased. So I'm looking forward to the next 4 years, coming back from being officer so many years ago to jump into the president-elect where you're responsible for all the planning for this convention was a baptism by fire. And so I am going to go to bed tonight and sleep for at least 12 hours.
Thank you,
Are
Don.
there any questions?
So it's a little tough to do on Zoom, but can we just recognize Don and Rhonda? They're the ones who planned this conference. Can we just show our appreciation? Yeah, and I also want to acknowledge the great job that mathdepartment.org did. I know, I think Don would agree with me that it made it made planning this probably a little easier to sleep, knowing that someone who knew what they were doing was behind the scenes and as you all have seen, moderating things. So I would recommend them if you have your own conference to plan. Don, I imagine you would agree. So
I would.
So thanks to Kevin and his whole team with all their help on this. All right. It's my turn, I guess, for a report. You know, as I've been reading through old minutes and so forth, and one of the former presidents made a comment that when things are going well, the job of a president is not much because everyone else is doing their job, and that's kind of been my experience. Is that you know, I hear what the secretary and treasurer and everyone else has to do. It's like, wow, that's a lot of work. I'm glad I don't have to do it. And I know President-elect is a big job too with the convention. So, and I just want to emphasize that, you know, these are all volunteer positions. So it, you know, everyone's doing this for fun, I guess. But although I will say it's been a highlight for me to be a part of this organization. I've enjoyed coming to conventions before and just observing, but to be a part of it more deeply and to get to know the council and even some of our former members who have already moved on. It's been a great experience, and I highly recommend it if you're considering serving the profession in a particular way. This is a great way to serve the mathematics community, I think. There are a few other things I wanted to say. I wanted to recognize our newest chapters. We did install 2 chapters in the past year. Minnesota Alpha, which is Metropolitan State University in St. Paul, and Missouri Omicron, which is Rockhurst University in Kansas City. And in just a week or two, Arkansas Gamma will be installed by Don Tosh. That's Harding University in Searcy, Arkansas. And I won't hit all these items, so you can read the email and get more of the details. But I did want to recognize our regional directors as well. Like I said, they put all this time into putting together regional conferences and had to kind of shift that, but they're you know, just great in how they communicate with you on and everything else they do. So thanks to them, especially Pete, although I don't think he's here today, but recognize Pete for his 33 years of service, and welcome to Adam Fletcher from West Virginia Alpha, who will be the new Great Lakes regional director. So thanks to Adam for stepping up. Also want to recognize Doug and Vanessa and Pat and everyone who contributes to the Pentagon, even if you're submitting an article, but especially for the referees and for Doug and everyone to put that together twice a year. That's another one of those jobs that I just think about. It's like, man, that seems like a lot of work. So thanks to them. And then I also want to just reiterate my appreciation to Don and Rhonda for filling in kind of at a moment's notice on these openings. These are jobs that you can't just hand off to someone overnight. It really helps to have some training and so forth, and we didn't have that really available for either one of these situations. So it was great to have them step up. So, and I have one more thing, and I may just read this part, and if you allow me. So finally, it gives me great pleasure to announce the creation of a new award. A few years ago, the council discussed the idea of recognizing outstanding chapters. While the mock award often rewards service at the national level, we wanted to recognize the efforts of those at a local level. A successful chapter requires a committed corresponding secretary or faculty advisor, as well as students who are willing to be active on their campus and at annual conventions. So each biennium, we would like to honor a chapter who helps make KME a vibrant honor society. The chapter will receive a plaque and a $500 stipend. Furthermore, we decided to name the award after corresponding secretaries at 2 chapters that have particularly exemplified this ideal. So let me describe them for you. For these 2 chapters, they each regularly submit chapter reports and initiation reports in a timely manner. Each has attended every regional and national convention since at least the year 2000, with many students presenting papers and winning awards. Each chapter has hosted or co-hosted multiple conventions at the regional and national level, and they're both quite active at their local level. Finally, each chapter has been led by a corresponding secretary for at least 35 years or more. So this is why I'm pleased to award the inaugural McKee Tosh Outstanding Chapter Award to Missouri Beta and Missouri Theta. So. I do have a plaque. I don't know if we can get a representative from the chapter as well as the plaque in the same screen here and that, but we'd like to. This is for, I see since Don's in the screen, at least on my screen, Missouri Theta. This is the plaque for Missouri Theta. And this is the plaque for Missouri Beta. So
I'm speechless. I didn't see this one coming. Thank you, guys.
Well, let me make one more comment here. It is an interesting coincidence that Don and later Rhonda joined the council after we made the decision. So it is certainly a testimony to their dedication. But it meant we have been unable to divulge these plans for the past year. Therefore, the next presidency will need to work out the process of determining future winners of this award. So your prize is now you have to figure out how to do this in the future. But it really is well deserved, and I know the council. We were excited to do it. We just didn't know that you both would be in these roles when we made the decision at the time. So
You held the information secret. I didn't have a clue.
Nor did I. Thank you very much. It's a really high honor.
Well, you're welcome. I see lots of agreement in the chat, it looks like. So, all right. Well, with I believe I'll do one more presentation. I would like to recognize Cynthia Huffman. She's our outgoing historian, and I believe she has now served a total of 12 years on the council, and I've had the pleasure of being a part of 6 of those. And Cynthia, it's just been great to work with her. Anytime we need input, need feedback, she's always willing to provide it. She always has good ideas. She's always good at proofreading. If I need something and I need it quickly, and I can always count on her. So Cynthia, we're definitely going to miss you on the council, but thank you for everything you've done for Kappa Mu Epsilon. And again, I wish I could hand this to you in person, but here's your plaque that we will eventually get to you as well. All right. Well, let us move on. I think that's everything for my report, unless there's any questions for me. Well, let's move on to our next agenda item, the reports of the section meetings and committees. So let's start with the student meeting first. I believe that was Alec. Is he giving that report today?
Brian, I don't see Alec on the participant list.
So I think we forgot to warn them that they would have to make a report. So Alex getting on right now.
Well, why don't we move on? We can come back. Why don't we move on to the auditing committee? I believe Diane was the chair of that committee, I believe.
Yes, thank you. So my name is Diane Twigger, and I was the chair of the auditing committee. The auditing committee consists of 6 members, 3 faculty and 3 students, and we came from Missouri Theta, Georgia Zeta, and Pennsylvania Upsilon. So that's where our representatives were from. So just a little bit of an overview of the process. So after the end of the biennium reporting was finished, all of Treasurer Dempsey's materials were provided to us. So that was a little over a week prior to the convention. I was able to verify the balances in the accounts with Wells Fargo Bank. And then we were also able to check on the deposits and check on the expenses, overview his quarterly reports, as well as the time accounts. Part of the auditing process, we also speak with the secretary and president. So we spoke with Rhonda and Brian, asked them about their confidence in the process. So findings were not much, which is a good thing. So Treasurer Dempsey's doing a fantastic job. I actually chaired this committee last time as well, and he just continues to do a fantastic job. The president and secretary believe so as well, and the checks and balances in the procedures that they use to ensure transparency and accountability work very well. So you can, I believe they're going to post the full report somewhere if you would like to view that. One of our recommendations was actually that we enjoyed doing this part virtually. So normally during the conference, the auditing committee gets together during the lunch hour, tries to eat their food, tries to look over the reports, tries to get a hold of the secretary, tries to get a hold of the president. And then if we have questions, it's just kind of difficult because we tend to be pulling away from certain things of the convention. So one of our recommendations is that the National Council considers doing it in this manner in the future. And so providing those materials to the auditing committee ahead of time, I think it was just a lot less stressful. It was a lot easier. We were able to get our questions answered very effectively, and then we were able to have the report completely finished prior to the convention. And so we just want to thank Treasurer Dempsey for his hard work. You can tell in reviewing the materials that it is a lot of work, and we just want to thank the secretary and president for their prompt responses as well. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Diane. Any questions for her? All right. Well, let's try the student committee again. Is Alec here now?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Brian. So I led the student meeting, and the main takeaways from that are that we really appreciate that we were able to have a convention this year, even though it was virtual. And so we wanted to thank all you guys for that. As far as future meetings go, when we're not required to have them virtually, we were wondering if there would be an option to have like virtual capability still, such as for the Hawaii chapter. They were able to attend this one, and normally they would not be able to. So that was kind of an opinion voiced there. Obviously, in person is much better, but for those that aren't able to attend those, it would be nice to have that option. And then the other thing was that we were wondering if there was a way for chapters to communicate together better. We know like that on the main website, there isn't like, from my understanding, the chapter heads are not listed, or at least like an email to be able to communicate between chapters. We were thinking we could have like competitions virtually through that. So if there's a way where we could, collaborate more between our chapters, we wanted to voice that opinion as well. So thank you.
Thanks, Alec. All right. we'll move to the faculty section meeting, which Rhonda took minutes for that.
So we discussed some of the same questions that the students discussed, whether we liked this format for a convention, and decided that under the circumstances we have today, that we were thrilled to be able to do this. We really enjoyed the Sococo platform for the most part. Everybody was, excited that we had that opportunity to visit with each other aside from the Zoom meetings when someone else was speaking. So we do, though, prefer in-person conferences. We like traveling with our students. We get to know our students better that way. We think there are more student-to-student interactions when we're in person, but also think that perhaps in the future there is some way to do a virtual part, or at least recordings that people who couldn't attend could participate in. We also discussed the possibility of in the years for regional conventions, perhaps doing one, so those regions that can do an in-person convention would do them, but for those regions where there's small attendance or whatever, we could offer one virtual conference for anybody in the regions who couldn't go to a regional convention, to an in-person regional convention. So that's something we may discuss later. We talked about strategies to encourage students to present at KME conventions. And someone said that they encourage their students to participate in REUs, that's research experiences for undergraduates. And of course, if you participate in one of those as a student, you are pretty much expected to present at a conference somewhere. So it might as well be a KME convention. Some faculty members have their students doing research projects with them. It's nice to have one faculty member in the department who actually assigns a research project as part of a class. And of course, honors projects and honors programs are a good place for students to do projects and be able to present. One last thing is we were discussing whether it's time for us to have a way to pay initiation fees online. And we all agreed that it is time. We like the idea, but the logistics still seem difficult. So that's something that we'll probably have to continue working on. I think that's it, Brian.
All right, thank you, Rhonda. And I can't remember if I mentioned before or not, but hearing the student talk about the students and finding ways to navigate the pandemic, I've heard lots of good reports about the mixer last night. So many thanks to the students there at Missouri Beta that transferred their positive experience locally to create some entertaining games for all of us last night. So thanks to those students as well for that.
Brian, could I interject?
Sure.
The People's Choice Award the poll is in progress. We're hoping that you will vote for your favorite paper in the top 8, and that poll is available through, I think there's a link somewhere, could be in the chat.
That poll will be at the bottom of your Zoom window, just right next to the chat box. You should see the polls. If you click on that, then you'll be able to leave your vote.
Thank you for that, Kevin. But the voting has kind of lagged, so we're hoping to have those results in time for the awards committee report.
All right, we'll give it one more minute. Everyone get your vote in, and then I will end the polling.
Oh no, he wasn't supposed to share.
Apologies there, but the polling has closed. Do we want to go ahead and make the announcement?
I'll announce them with the other awards.
Yep.
Or have people seen the results?
I don't know if everyone saw it. At least I wasn't paying close enough attention. So I think it's okay to wait. Let's move on to the resolutions committee. Gasper Porta.
Yeah, okay. So I've never done this before, so I'm gonna do whatever happens here. The resolutions committee was Mitch Keller and Tony Glaken from Iowa Gamma chapter, and Stephen Bates and Stephen Silvestri from the New York Omicron chapter, and myself. We came up with the sort of following resolutions. Whereas the success of any undertaking relies heavily on the dedication and ability of its leaders, be it resolved that this 43rd Biennial National Convention expresses its gratitude to Brian Hollenbeck, the National President, Don Tosh, President-elect, Steve Shattuck, National Secretary, David Dempsey, National Treasurer, Cynthia Huffman, National Historian, and John Snow, National Webmaster, and also to Rhonda McKee for filling in as the acting National Secretary for the convention. To Doug Brown for his service as editor of the Pentagon, to Donnery Perich, Steve Schoner, Jamie Curry, Catherine Kime, and John Diamantopoulos for their service as regional directors, and to the students and faculty who served on the auditing awards, nominating, and resolutions committees, which is so essential for the success of the meeting. Whereas the primary purpose of KME Epsilon is to encourage participation in mathematics and the development of an appreciation for its beauty, be it further resolved that students Dakota Heathcock, Isaac Ryder, Christopher McFay, Lindsay Moyer, Tony Glaken, Luis Sanchez Mercedes, Laura Batts, Megan Moran, Joshua Gottlieb, and Stephen Bates, who prepared, submitted, and then presented their papers, be given special commendation by this 43rd Biennial Convention for their enthusiasm and dedication. That this convention expresses its thanks to workshop host Brian Dawson titled The Hyperreal Numbers, to workshop host Smita Dutta Gupta titled A Study of Teaching Methodologies and Their Impact on Varied Audiences, and to workshop host Sun Yen titled Building an Image Recognition Model from Scratch. Additionally, to Joe Gallion for his outstanding keynote address using mathematics to create symmetry patterns this afternoon. Finally, whereas the University of Central Missouri of Warrensburg, Missouri has provided this virtual convention with gracious hospitality, masterfully using Sokoko and Zoom platforms, be it resolved that this 43rd Biennial Convention expresses its heartfelt appreciation to the Missouri Beta chapter for its thorough arrangements they have planned and carried out so successfully, and to the convention, and that this convention recognize and thank Kevin Cook for his stellar technical knowledge and alacritous support, together with all of the other members of Missouri Beta who devoted their time and talents to ensure the success of this meeting, including organizing the activities for the reception. These resolutions are submitted by myself, the chair of this committee.
Thank you, Gasper, and the resolutions committee. All right, moving on. So this should be an easy election. We have a slate of candidates, so I believe we can do a election by acclamation, which, as I understand it, means that we all give a thunderous applause to Mark Hughes and Scott Thune as our new council members.
Thank you. Thank you.
We might have to work on thunderous a little bit, but. All right. So that being said, let's move on to the installation of our officers. So we'll start with the historian first. So the historian shall be the official historian of Kappa Mu Epsilon, shall be an associate editor of the official publication of Kappa Mu Epsilon, and shall keep a file of interesting news notes about chapters or members. Mark, do you accept the responsibilities connected with the office of historian of Kappa Mu Epsilon? If so, answer I do.
I do.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by Kappa Mu Epsilon National Mathematics Honor Society, I declare you to be the historian of Kappa Mu Epsilon.
Thank you.
Next, for President-elect. The duties of the President-elect shall be to assist the President and to succeed to the presidency. Scott, do you accept the responsibilities connected with the office of President-elect of Kappa Mu Epsilon? If so, answer I do.
I do.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by Kappa Mu Epsilon National Mathematics Honor Society, I declare you to be the President-elect of Kappa Mu Epsilon. And finally, for President, the duties of the President shall be to preside at the biennial conventions and meetings of the National Council, to provide for the installation of new chapters, to approve all bills before they are paid by the Treasurer, and to perform other duties as usually pertain to this office. Don, do you accept the responsibilities connected with the office of President of Kappa Mu Epsilon? If so, answer I do.
I do.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by Kappa Mu Epsilon National Mathematics Honor Society, I declare you to be the President of Kappa Mu Epsilon.
Can I pop it? Okay.
Nicely done, nicely done. Very good.
They're going to take away that chapter award for that.
Oh, we can all feel the love, right? All right, that is it for that. So I will turn it over to Don for the awards committee report.
Before I do the awards committee report, there is one officer we need to recognize. The plaque won't get there in time, Brian, but we want to officially demonstrate our gratitude for you serving so well and so effectively. You've led you left a wonderful set of documents, so I can go right into the presidency with everything already set out and working smoothly. And so we appreciate you. I'll get that plaque in the mail this week, and it's just a small token of how much we thank you for what you've done for Kappa Mu Epsilon these last 8 years. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Don. It's been a pleasure and an honor.
Only sad part for me is that you're leaving now, so you're not going to be we won't be working together on things as we have just this last year. So I would have been able to spend a lot more time working with you, and you are awful easy to work with. Okay, the awards committee consisted of myself as chair, Tim Flood from Kansas Alpha, Mark Hughes from Maryland Delta, a student from Maryland Delta, Bailey Brewer, and a student from Missouri Theta, Peter Russell. That consisted of our committee. We sent around the titles of the talk and the abstracts a little over a week ago. And so people were able to peruse that and get an idea for the topics that were going to be included. And then they were distributed scoring rubrics. And then once we had all those scores tallied, we met together and totaled up the scores. And then if there were papers that were close, and there were some that were quite close, we would have to just go by voice opinion as to which one we thought would be ranked above or below the other one. So that was the process we went through, and I thank people for When you're on the awards committee, you have to listen to the presentations carefully and pay attention to all the components that are given, and then be able to justify your reasoning with the others. So here are the winners of the paper presentations. In third place, Lindsay Moyer, with her presentation on the composition of magic squares. She's from Kutztown University, and good job, Lindsay, for that presentation. Second place is Isaac Ryder with his presentation on the Vic card cipher, our contribution to the field of playing card cryptography. And especially appreciated was that card trick at the front that people are still wondering how you did. And that could have been a contributing factor to the fact that Isaac also was the People's Choice winner for the top presentation as selected by the people watching. And then first place paper was by Laura Batts and Megan Moran, non-realizable polynomial root sequences. They are from Anderson University, Indiana Gamma, and they are the paper winners. We encourage all of the paper presenters to, if they have the papers in finished form, to submit them to the Pentagon for consideration. And especially the top paper presenters, if you have those presentations in printable paper format, you can submit those and they will definitely be considered for publication in the Pentagon, which is a worthwhile thing to have on a resume, is that you've published a paper. Sure helps when you're looking at different grad schools. Okay, was that it? I believe that's it for the awards committee.
Don, let me mention real quick as the treasurer that I will be getting in touch with those students to get your cash awards to you. It'll take a little time, but we will get it to you. Each of the top paper awards is $100, which I think will split with you two at the top. And then the People's Choice is $50. But we appreciate all of you for doing that, and we really like to hand out prizes.
If we could have been in person, you would have received a check, but that is harder to do when it's virtual.
And I miss, we won't have the group photo. That's always special to have all our student presenters together. And but congratulations to all of our presenters, and especially to our award winners. But it was a great day of talks and workshops. Well, we're winding down, so we leave the best for last. In some ways, our society's most prestigious honor is the George Mock Distinguished Service Award. So I have a citation for that, and again, I will just read it. So hopefully it will be clear. So the George R. Mock Distinguished Service Award is presented each biennium to an individual who has made major contributions to the society. Nominations are solicited from the chapters, and the National Council determines the recipient. The chapter with which the recipient is affiliated receives a monetary award of $500. I am pleased to announce that the recipient of the George R. Mock Distinguished Service Award for this biennium is Dr. Mark Hamner. Dr. Hamner is the Vice Provost for Institutional Research and Improvement at Texas Women's University in Denton, Texas. He has been the corresponding secretary of the Texas Gamma chapter for the past 20 years. He rejuvenated a chapter that had only one initiation in the 15 years prior to his arrival. The chapter also hosted a convention for the South Central region. Dr. Hamner served on the National Council as secretary for 10 years. During this time, he updated the database and initiation report form, which made the certificate creation process easier. His skills with the database also made the treasurer's job easier. And in general, I can testify that Mark was always a pleasure to work with. The KME National Council would like to honor Dr. Hamner for his faithful service. For this reason, we are excited to present the Mock Distinguished Service Award to Dr. Mark Hamner. So congratulations, Mark.
Thank you. I just, I thank you, Brian, so much. I just want to, I'm very humbled and honored to receive this, because this award has been given to such great people in the past. You just heard from Don, for example, who, when I was brought in, so you might hear the 10 years, and I'm not going to try to talk too much because I know I'm standing between everybody's weekend right now, but the rest of their weekend. But just a great set of people. Don was leaving as the national, the president, and for the national, for KME, and Rhonda, which I'm so glad to see Rhonda here, was president-elect. So it was in the middle of her term that they asked me to come on as the secretary, and then I had 2 successive 4-year terms after that. So that's the 10 years. But just a great set of people. Thank you so much. And we do it all because of the students, and the student presenters today were fantastic. And so just a great honor, and thank you so much, everybody.
Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you.
And we will get the plaque in the mail to you as well. All right, our final bit of business is to see if there are any hosts for 2023 that would like to at least offer an invitation. Of course, the council in the coming months will have to sort out the final determination of that, but anyone want to invite us to their, hopefully for an in-person convention in 2023. And certainly if you want to talk over with your chapter first, we're not making a decision next week or probably even until next fall would be my guess at the earliest. So so you have plenty of time to get a hold of President Tosh and let him know what you if you'd like to have us visit your campus. So all right, National Council, is there anything I'm forgetting? Anything else?
I'll just mention that I'll get in touch with the other award winners too. So Mark, the mock award goes to your chapter, so I'll get with you about how to make that happen. And also Don and Rhonda for your chapters for your new award. We're really excited about that.
Brian, I might mention one other thing too. As I write up the report for the convention, I'll need reports from all the committees. So if you were a committee chair, would you email your reports to me, please?
Yep, that's a good reminder. Last call. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, then we will call the convention to a close. And it was great seeing you all, and I look forward to seeing you, if not at a regional convention next year, then hopefully at the national one in 2 years. Bye, everyone.